96.1 The Rooster, Wilson in the morning, and we're talking to regular guest of the show, Dr. Beaver, and today's discussion is traveling at light speed and aliens.
There are many who believe the alien invasion is imminent. There are others that believe it's just eventual but unavoidable.
Well, I mean, as far as aliens, we've been sending out, I guess, radio waves for 100 years now. Are we just sending out a message, here we are, come and get us? Should we be doing that? Is that dangerous?
Well, of course, no one has a solid answer for that. So we have to say, well, there's ability. We haven't been able to rule out that it could be dangerous. How real is that possibility? Who's to say? But if we want to look at repercussions, now there are things we can say. If aliens find our message that didn't already know we're here, does that increase our danger? Maybe. How long would it take them to get here? Now you say that transmission finally hit a few months ago that was transmitted.
Yeah, that sounds about right. MIT had sent a signal to a very specific location.
There's a lot of different ideas, based on physics of what could happen. If these aliens, if they exist, if they're there, and if they're technologically advanced, can they create wormholes? Otherwise, it would take them longer to get here than it took the radio signal to get there to begin with. Unless they have some advanced, whether it be wormholes or other interdimensional capabilities, it's going to take them longer than that. It's already taken almost 50 years just for the radio signal. Well, it's going to take them a little bit longer to get here. The doctor has no confidence in interdimensional possibilities, including wormholes, that any of it is real or attainable.
Brings me
or even possible.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was wondering about the idea of us being able to travel faster than light. I just don't see the idea of that kind of propulsion seems out of reach. The idea of moving the space around you, you're not the one, like a warp bubble in Star Trek. I guess that's sort of a wormhole. You're moving the space around you. You're creating a subspace. You're bending the ripples of gravity.
Well, there's a problem with the idea of anything interdimensional creating a quicker path, and it comes back to the basics. I tried a discussion with a colleague of mine, theoretical physics from was it Cambridge in England? What is it, either Cambridge or Oxford? I can't remember now. But anyway.
Fort Valley State?
Yeah, that's always a possibility. There's a lot of physics giants that come from there. Nevertheless, two-dimensional movement from our point of view in three-dimension as being our reference from what it's like four-dimension versus three-dimension. And that's a direct reference. And it comes down to the basics, The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. By increasing your dimensional capability, there's no way to shorten that distance. For example, you take a two-dimensional surface, a line on a table. Oh, we're in 3 dimensions. We can get from one end of the line to the other, point A to point B, quicker, can't we? No, we can't. Still, the quickest way is that straight line right there on the table. Being in a three-dimensional existence, well, it's not. There's other things we can do that wouldn't be possible for them. And let's think about that in three-dimensional. If you have something three-dimensional that's trapped inside a sphere, there's no way in, there's no way out. You could use a four-dimensional travel capability to get there and bypass the surrounding, and we can prove that two-dimensionally. If you had an object laying across the line, preventing the passing from point A to B on the surface of the table, in our three-dimensional existence, we could merely come up and over and back down that object. It's the same thing going from 3 dimensions to 4 dimensions. You can bypass that object. It's a little harder to imagine because we're on the smaller end of the dimension. Explain these in layman's terms, these ideas and concepts are much more advanced than what I'm explaining, but I think just understanding the basics, it might not be exciting or adventurous.
So then how are we going to get to light speed then?
Well, I'm not, so let's say, how are you? Now, we have different engines that are not might only be in theory, and never been fully developed, that are somewhere in theoretical development, and some lab examples of engines that could do that, including but not limited to the ion engine. But real-life application is a much different thing. But in time, it could be the reality where we could move right at or near the speed of light. But again, it's a theoretical impossibility that we would attain infinite mass, and we could never survive such a trip. Neither could our craft. But we're likely to create something similar to what you described as a workaround by creating an artificial atmosphere around us, so we're never actually exposed to that speed. And so, but we're years in development away from that. And if it's really possible, have a lot of realistic hopes for that. But long-term, people, these attitudes usually in the long term have been proven wrong. It is a matter of time. Maybe these aliens do have a way of accelerating and not being exposed to the speed of light themselves. Again, that would only prove Einstein correct, and it would change your point of relativity as you travel. So can't be ruled out. Requirements to do this would be overwhelming to make it impractical, but again, rule it out.
And now you know the rest of the story. Good day.